So our first panel today will be facilitated by Dr. Robert Sanchez, the Vice President of Idaho Business for Education. In his role as Vice President of IBE, Dr. Sanchez works closely with local public school administrators and business leaders throughout Idaho in advancing IBE's schoolhouse strategy, which is promoting early childhood literacy, student achievement, and college and career readiness. Dr. Sanchez holds a PhD in educational leadership from Northwest Nazarene University and MBA in management and marketing from NNU, and a master's degree in strategic studies from the Command and General Staff College of the U.S. Army at Fort Leavenworth, Kansas. Welcome to the Age of Agility conference, Dr. Sanchez, and take it away.
Rod, thank you for the introduction, and to those that are joining us online for this conference, I want to say welcome to our Idaho Within Reach panel discussion. I also want to say a special welcome to our distinguished panelists that we have here with us this morning. But before I dive into our panel discussion, I want to provide some context and history about the Within Reach program that I think will be beneficial to our audience this morning. First of all, the purpose of our panels to address a critical challenge, and that's to ensure our young people are equipped with the knowledge and skills needed to succeed in the ever-changing workforce. Now, as educators and families, we face numerous obstacles in preparing and motivating students to pursue education beyond high school. Post-secondary education really encompasses a wide range of educational opportunities. These are opportunities like vocational programs, apprenticeships, certifications, community colleges, trade schools, and universities. As we work together to position our young men and women and students in Idaho for post-secondary attainment, it's absolutely critical for us to address the financial barriers, the lack of awareness, and information that provides an overload sometimes and hinders the access to post-secondary education for many of our students. With just 37% of Idaho high school graduates enrolling in post-secondary education, our state is facing a shortage of skilled workers to meet the demands across our state. This results in a challenge for each and every one of us to find effective solutions. And our students and our businesses and our communities need us to work together toward positioning our young men and women for post-secondary attainment now more than ever. To support this goal, Idaho has implemented a range of exceptional support programs for students in public schools. Programs such as Next Steps Idaho, Idaho Advanced Opportunities, Idaho 529, and the newly introduced Idaho Launch will offer invaluable assistance to Idaho students. However, the abundance of information available can be overwhelming for both parents and students, making it very, very challenging to navigate through this vast sea of resources. The Within Reach initiative has played a pivotal role in tackling these challenges head-on. This groundbreaking program is the product of a dynamic partnership between the Idaho Business for Education, the Federal Reserve Bank of San Francisco, and the Idaho Falls School District. The Within Reach program merges three components: workplace training, school programs, and parental guidance. By uniting these components, the Within Reach initiative establishes a robust support system that empowers parents to skillfully navigate their children's journey towards attaining post-secondary education and achieving career success. Earlier this year, or at the beginning of the fall school year in 2022, Idaho Business for Education, together with the Federal Reserve Bank of San Francisco and the Idaho Falls School District, launched the Within Reach program as a pilot initiative in partnership with the City of Idaho Falls, Idaho Steel, the Hartwell Corporation, and the Eastern Idaho Regional Medical Center. Through engaging quarterly lunch and learn sessions, the program equipped parents with essential insights into post-secondary education. Topics covered included the significance of certifications and degrees, the influence of networks and mentors, practical career exploration tools, and a wide range of post-secondary options. Additionally, parents received valuable guidance on financing their children's education. This comprehensive program empowered parents to actively participate in their child's educational journey and make well-informed decisions for their future. Well, ladies and gentlemen, now it's time to hear from our exceptional panelists. We're privileged and honored today to have with us Margaret Winborn from the Idaho Falls School District, where she serves as the Director of Communications and Community Outreach. Heidi Ayola, who's the Director of Human Resources for Idaho Steel. We have also with us Zarin Buchanan, who is the Corporate Director of Training for the Hartwell Corporation, and then Bianca Chavez, who is a dedicated team member at Idaho Steel and also a parent participant of the program. We have 4 themes that we're going to cover today. Our first theme has to do with the challenges, opportunities, and driving factors within the context of Within Reach. Our first question is going to go to Margaret. And Margaret, if you can just please take a moment to share with us what motivated the Idaho Falls School District to collaborate and participate in the program? And could you share the specific goals and expectations the district had in mind when decided to join the Within Reach initiative?
Absolutely. The thing that we loved about this program was it gives us one more opportunity to partner with our community as a whole. It's a way to partner with our business leaders and also with our parents. Our teachers and staff are constantly talking to students about about the importance of doing well in school and going on and being successful. This was a way to amplify that message. And in an ideal world, I think no matter where a child goes, somebody should be asking them about what they want to do, not whether they're going to go to college or not, but just what do they want to do, what do they love, and help them make connections with pathways to jobs and careers in the future. And this was a way to do that. And it was also a way to connect with parents in the workplace where they are. We have lots of events and special activities, but it's one more thing that parents have to do, and we know parents are busy. Not, they're working, they're taking care of kids, and then they're shuttling them from soccer practices to dance recitals. And this was a way to connect with parents in the workplace and try and make resources a little bit more accessible. So those were some of the goals that we had as a district.
Margaret, I love the way you describe that. That makes me think about that saying that it takes a village to raise a child. And
Absolutely.
If there's any truth to that at all, it must take an entire community to posture a young person for post-secondary attainment.
Absolutely. As I said, I think a child should hear that no matter where they go and what they're doing.
I loved also your emphasis on parental engagement, and that is kind of a great segue to our parents now. As I shift focus over toward Bianca and Zarin. As parents who actively participated in the Within Reach program and navigated the complexities that's involved with planning your child's educational journey, we understand the challenges you faced in terms of knowing all the available programs, like accessing resources, sifting through the overwhelming information, and understanding ways to finance education and training. Can you share a specific challenge you encountered in this process and provide maybe an example for our audience today of how the Within Reach program helped address that challenge, particularly in terms of maybe clarity around getting access to resources or guidance and options for financing your child's education and training? Well, we'll begin with you, Zarin.
Robert, you really named it when you said there's a vast amount of resources available. And one of the challenges that I struggled with was that there is so much, and it's almost like just information overload in what's available. And so I ate at a Greek restaurant last night here in town. It was amazing. I'm looking at the menu, and I didn't know what half of it was. And that's kind of how I felt when looking at all the resources. The benefit of the Within Reach program is that it was like having somebody helpful there to just explain every menu item. And then I could make a decision for my children based on what they needed. So I really loved that the Within Reach program came to me in a place I was at anyway, in my workplace, and presented these things in an easy to access manner that just really helped me as a parent to plan for the future of my children.
I love the way you say that as well. When you look at the abundance of information out there, it can be daunting in a lot of cases to sift through that menu, a very large menu as you described. I'm going to turn our focus over to Bianca now and just ask for your insights and thoughts about how the Within Reach program helped you address a specific challenge.
Well, ours has always been, even with my own education, was financial and how do you pay for school, who can help with that. And like you said, there's a lot of information, but you guys made it palatable and what works for your family in particular. Like what can I do to help my son from now that he's going to be in 3rd grade to when he's a senior, and the steps we need to take and not rush all at the end of high school, because that seems like that happens a lot. You get to your senior year and you're rushing, like, what do I do? How do I pay for it? But if you start early and your parents have all the information necessary, then it won't be as stressful towards the end. So.
Well, that's an excellent point. In one of the workshops, I remember the subject matter experts coming in and laying out a timeline for parents of school-age children, whether they're in middle school or high school. And that timeline that you referred to is absolutely critical in the planning. Thank you for sharing that. Earlier, I talked about the significance of it takes an entire community to posture young men and women for success toward post-secondary attainment. We've been blessed in this program to have a great community partner with Idaho Steel. And I'm going to ask Heidi just to share with us her thoughts and add perspective, beginning with this question. What motivated Idaho Steel to implement the Within Reach program? And in what ways do you believe the program, through its collaboration with schools and subject matter experts, effectively address the challenges that parents and organizations encounter every day in posturing men and women towards post-secondary attainment? And ultimately, what are your thoughts around how this program might help to provide the skilled workforce needed by Idaho Steel and other companies across the state?
Sure. As it's been said by many already this morning, I think a lot of employers are challenged to find skilled workers to be able to get the work done, to make business move forward. And that's been a challenge for us at Idaho Steel. I think it's important to have a plan in place that has many levels. You know, we do internal training, we do work with the high schools locally, we work with, you know, the colleges to make sure that we're developing those skills with the upcoming workforce. And when we heard about this program, we thought it was just a really unique idea. You know, you think about work, and when you go to work, have you ever heard of a program that is helping you be a parent at work? You know, it was such a unique and interesting idea to us. And so our values at Idaho Steel, a couple of big pieces are, you know, family, of course, and innovation. And this program really fit that. So we thought we'll put our money where our mouth is and really dive into this program and connect our employees with some tools to be better parents.
Well, thank you so much. And I think if I remember correctly, last week you guys were just out in an industrial combine, I think was the construction
Yes.
combine. And just one small example of the great work that you do with our schools and the community. Our final question for this theme before we shift to our second theme is for all panelists, and kind of a lightning round, if you will. And so here's the question. We talked about it takes a community to posture young men and women for success. What are the advantages of schools and community organizations and local businesses working together, especially within the context of the Within Reach program? And how can organizations and schools and parents work together to make the most of the advantages that a program like Within Reach provides to better support students in preparing for their future careers? So I'll give you just a second to think about it, and we're going to start over probably on this end with our parents. And we'll begin with Zarin, and then we'll work our way across the panel. So,
That's a great question, Robert. What are the advantages of all of these organizations and individuals working together for the sake of our children? I think that it makes it doable. I mean, imagine if the Idaho Education Department or your organization just decided to run an ad campaign single-handedly. Okay, we're going to see some billboards, we're going to see some, maybe some TV spots, some things on our Facebook ads or whatever. But that's probably going to do a little bit of good, but it's not really going to reach people. And so by approaching the individual businesses, the private businesses as you've done, and going out and meeting with the employees one-on-one, who are the parents, that prompts them to meet with the school counselors one-on-one, to meet with their students or their children one-on-one, and to plan this all together. I used to teach high school, did a little tiny stint at it at the beginning of my career, and my mentor at the time said, how do you teach a class a subject? And I was thinking, well, you have good object lessons and you get lively and so forth. And my mentor said, no, you do it one student at a time. And so by working together, the Idaho Within Reach program has made it possible to touch one parent at a time, which then touches that student one at a time, face-to-face, one-on-one. So I really think this is a phenomenal model.
that's very powerful when you think about that visual, that picture of one parent at a time, one student at a time, and then ultimately what that impact results in for families and communities and companies like Idaho Steel or Hartwell Corporation, and in the bigger picture, our state and in the world that we live in. I'm going to shift gears quickly from you, Zarin, over to Bianca now.
I just think, as we've been saying, it takes a village. When your teachers and your parents work are all asking you and helping you and moving forward in whatever you want to do. Like you said, it doesn't have to be college, but it could be a technical school, it could be a certification. When more than one person is there for you and trying to help you in that, it's like a switch that turns on. It's like, okay, they want me to do more. They want me to be better than they did or the people before them. And with schools and work helping, it's like Margaret said, it's so much easier when you're at work and they're like, hey, we're going to have a quick hour meeting within reach to help you get education that you don't have to do after work, before work, when the rest of your life that you have to take care of in that time. So it's been great, and I was definitely hesitant about doing it, but I'm so glad I did, and it's shifted my mindset a lot for my kids.
I love that metaphor, that analogy of flipping on the switch.
Yeah.
And the way you described that is just so powerful. We're going to go over to the other side of our panel now and listen to the perspective of Heidi in Idaho Steel.
Sure. The question is, why does this matter for all of us to be partners, right? What's the purpose? And I think from the business side of things, we need to remember that we're part of this puzzle. And so this program connects that dot. If we expect to move forward, grow, be prosperous in business, we've got to invest in the talent that's coming up the pipeline. And so I think that this program is just a really unique way to do that.
I love the way you described it as an investment, and you look at the investment of the companies that were partners in the Within Reach and Idaho Steel in particular, the investment that you make into the workforce, into members of your team, just so significant. Margaret, what observations or insights would you like to share from the school district?
I think this model allows us to make this almost a community calling, sort of rallying the community around this goal, we know that we've got big issues that we need to solve if we're going to create the workforce that Idaho needs to move forward. And schools can do their part, parents can do their part, businesses can do their part. But if we can all work together, we can make those connections with children and get them to think about what's possible, think about what problems need to be solved, and think about what their role is in solving those problems. I think sometimes, you know, if you talk to a child about what they want to be, they may say scientist or engineer, but they may not realize that what that means or how to get there. But if you can kind of break it down, that if you can get this certification or do this kind of work, or did you know that Idaho Steel needs scientists for certain kinds of things? Do you know, you know that being a in agriculture doesn't mean you're moving pipe. It could mean that you're developing new kinds of crops. And I think by all working together, we can really create that rallying cry in our community and have us all work together to inspire our kids to create a better tomorrow. And by doing that, you know, create the workforce that we need to make a better Idaho.
Thank you, Margaret. That's so well said, and that reminds me that makes me think about how this call to action really is a reminder that each of us play a critical role in investing in the lives of our young students and working together with our local schools and our businesses and our families toward that end. And then I think the second piece is that the post-secondary attainment is a lot like putting the pieces of a puzzle together. And each of us has a piece that is helpful in adding to that puzzle. We're going to shift gears to our second theme. And our second theme is the impact on parental engagement and understanding that the Within Reach program brings. And our first question is going to go to Margaret. And Margaret, I understand that the district has taken several steps toward parental engagement within the context of Within Reach. And one of those has been including a dedicated section of the district's website for all the information and workshops and videos and other resources involved within Reach, as well as producing student videos. I'm interested in your thoughts and your perspective on how these initiatives have helped to improve parental engagement now and in the future, and perhaps foster a better understanding of post-secondary education.
Okay. I think it's what goes back to sort of what Bianca said, that it's just a matter of trying to access those resources and get a better understanding of what's available and how to use it. So we did spend some time creating a page on our website. The Federal Reserve Bank did such an amazing job of pulling information together for all age groups from elementary, middle, and high school. They looked at different things that different states, different schools across the country were using and pulled those all together. And then we've housed those as well as the Lunch and Learn presentation. So even if parents are not employees at the companies that we partnered with initially, they would still have access to those resources. So that's been sort of the first step. But now that we have this first year of the program under our belt, we need to do more than just house that information on our website. Yeah. We've got to do more to push that out to parents. So I've already been kind of brainstorming some different ideas on how we might be able to do that in the coming year. Trying to create maybe a newsletter, sort of doing a spotlight every month, and just trying to highlight those resources so that again we can turn on more switches for more parents, because every parent wants their child to be successful. Every parent works incredibly hard to help their child be successful. Sometimes it's just an overload. There's so much information, you don't really know how it's all connected, you don't really know how to start, but this is a great place to start. So we'll keep working on ways to connect better with parents.
You know, we're excited as a collective team to lock elbows with you to continue to push that information out to our parents. And that's going to be exciting to continue to develop and further populate that website with more information and more tools.
It is.
Heidi, you know, you sit in that unique position as Director of Human Resources at Idaho Steel. You have an opportunity to gain valuable insights into the impacts of the Within Reach program. And I wonder if you might be able to share with us any notable feedback or observations that participants provided you regarding the workshops, materials, and resources offered through the program. All the participants are parents of school-age children, and as this theme focuses on parental engagement, we're really interested in your feedback and insights.
Sure, absolutely. You know, it was interesting. It is a new idea. So as we put it out there, there was some, people were a little unsure, what is this about? Why are we doing this at work? It was a little confusing at first, but it seemed like we got more participation as it went on, as word got out. And from a lot of employees, it was like the lights came on. I got a lot of feedback, wow, that was so interesting to get that information here at work. I'm being paid to sit here and learn about how to be a better, whole person as a parent. And I think that the feedback that we got was that it was really well worth their time, and that they felt like it was such a valuable benefit from their employer. We always, in HR, we always talk about engagement and how important that is at work. When people feel like they're engaged, they're supported from their employer, they're going to give the best of themselves at work, which leads to better productivity and success at work. So I think all of this goes hand in hand, and it was really great to see our employees get excited about the program.
Yeah, thank you for sharing that. And it's a great segue now over to our parents to hear directly from them, because this program is for you as parents of school-aged children. And we'd love to hear from you about how you first learned about the program and what motivated you to join, and then perhaps just sharing your initial expectations and experiences. So we'll begin with Bianca, and then we'll go to Sarah.
Yeah, I heard from Heidi, which is our HR at work. And like I said, I was a little hesitant because myself, I didn't go to college and it wasn't like a big priority. But I just looked inward and was like, well, let me just hear it out. Maybe this information will do me some good, even if my kids don't use it. But I have already spread the word to my friends and family of different things like the Idaho 529 and the next step information, like all of that. I'm like, it's easy to get to. It's a one link, you click it, you read about it. And so yeah, towards the end, I think I only missed one session, but at the end, it's changed my mindset of what I want for my kids, of it being so much easier than when I was in school and my parents were very busy. They didn't have the time. I think if my mom had this opportunity, I could have been in a different situation. But now I could do that for my kids, and my friends' kids could have that information, and that's how you spread the word on things like this. So it was great, and I'm excited to see where we go from here.
Oh, what a powerful statement. It gives me goosebumps to listen to you to describe it. I'm going to ask Zarin now to kind of share his experiences, his expectations of the program.
Sure. Robert, I received an email from Audrey in our company, who handles a lot of the HR function, and about a lunch and learn. She invited, I don't know if she invited everybody, but she invited a bunch of the employees who had school-age kids, and my first thought was, another meeting. But I accepted the meeting, and I'm so glad that I did. You said that this program is for us as parents, and that's true. But I think more so, this program's for our kids. It's also for our companies, our employers, because they win. Yeah. They win a lot in having happier employees and more engaged employees, and also in a future source of talent. So if you're a business owner, I'd say, listen close to this. If you're a parent, listen close, because we win, because our whole purpose, the entire reason I exist, right, is to take care of my kids. At least that's how I view things. And just to help them be the best they can be. So I'm so glad that I participated in this. I'm so grateful to Audrey for inviting me to this, to these lunch meetings that we had, because I learned a lot of stuff, and I'd had some experience with some of these programs, but there's a whole nother world out there I was not aware of that is going to be a real blessing and benefit to my younger children that are starting to come up into middle school and high school.
Zarin, thank you for emphasizing that while parents are integral part of this program, it is a win-win truly for our schools and our businesses and our community. And when you think of that within the context of our businesses, and you gave some great examples of how they benefit and how it's a win for them. We're going to shift gears over to Heidi to get the organizational or the company perspective here. And Heidi, in your opinion, how do you anticipate this commitment to Within Reach and supporting employees and their children for post-secondary attainment? How do you believe that it will influence the overall work environment and employee well-being and potential long-term retention rates at Idaho Steel?
Sure. Well, it goes back to that engagement. I think, Margaret, you mentioned it. I think I'm a parent, I'm a mother, I have a high school student, and I think that they do get kind of inundated with emails and information and newsletters and that kind of thing. And so being able to get it from a different direction is just another level of learning, and makes it a little easier and more convenient for parents to really be able to sit down and listen. And our hope at Idaho Steel in being part of this program is being able to see our employees feel supported, feel like they're getting the information they need for their home life as well as their work life, and be able to bring that satisfaction back to work and say, okay, I want to be here. This is a company that cares about me as a whole person and wants to see my family succeed. And then even going farther than that, the future workforce. It's a huge, important part. This is a way that we can invest into the pipeline that's coming up. So those employees, children that go off and learn what they need to learn and hopefully come back and work at Idaho Steel so we get the next Biancas down the road. So.
Well, and if I can just add something
Yeah,
to
please
that,
do.
I think that the other powerful part of this program is that message is not only coming from the schools, because I think that traditionally with schools, your teacher tells you there's a lot of things you should do, but having your employer tell you, this is important, this is a way to support and help your students, it's the same message, but it just adds more power to that idea, and it's really about something you can do rather than something that you have to do. You have to do the spelling list and the this and the this and the this. Well, now it's a way, this is something you can do. This is something you can do for your family.
And that there's different options. There's
Yeah.
not a one size
No.
fits all.
Yeah.
It's you help your child find what they're good at, what they can be passionate about, and and help them find their path, and then we have a more successful workforce.
Yeah.
I like the way you described that, and it reminds me of how the Within Reach program provides the opportunity for all of us to speak with one voice and focus that voice on post-secondary attainment for our Idaho's students and developing and shaping the workforce that Idaho needs. One lightning round before we go on to our other theme. And so here's the question. What advice would you give to parents or other companies about the Within Reach program? And we'll start over with our parents first and begin with Zarin and then work our way across.
I would say learn about it, act, do something. If that thing is only go to the idahob.org website and click and look up the information on Within Reach, do something. Talk to your counselor at the school. They may or may not be aware of this program. If they're not, they should be. But yeah, I would say act. Very first thing you do, find out what's available to you, and then you can decide what you need to discuss with your child.
Yes, Aaron, thank you. Bianca?
I think, yeah, just if you can get this program at your work or your children's school or anything like that, I would highly recommend it. And if you know anyone that's closer to their kids coming out of high school, also to get involved in it. But just, yeah, like you said, act. Like, you be the person that's like, let me get this information for my kids and move forward, and let them know, like Heidi said, it's not a one size fits all. Like, it's literally what is good for your kid. Is it carpentry? Is it steel? Is it electrician? Like, they don't absolutely have to go to college, but there's something in this program that can help them in whatever path they take. And we're here to help them with that.
Well, that's so powerful. Thank you so much. We're going to go over now to Heidi.
Yeah, I think we weren't 100% sure what the program would look like. It was a pilot program, but as an employer, we thought it sounded interesting. I know after being through this program that it could benefit other employers. I would say if there's any businesses that are interested, to reach out to IBE, because it has been well worth the time and effort to participate.
Thank you. Margaret?
I think the only thing that I would add is just that the model's built. It's not going to take a lot of work to jump on board and get involved in this program. As Heidi said, reach out to IBE, go to the District 91 website, take a look at the resources that are available. I mean, you could easily just take snippets from different presentations and include them in a newsletter, or mention them at the staff meeting. There's lots and lots of ways that you can use this model in a way that'll work in your workplace, and share the information. And we're always looking for ways to partner with businesses in our community. So we're ready, and we're excited to work with more businesses next year.
Thank you so much, Margaret. And that's a segue kind of to our final round of questions. And the question is really an open question. And it's your opportunity to share anything that you would like, perhaps to leave that final thought with the audience that has joined us today about your experience, your expectation, your advice, your recommendation, perhaps maybe even the most memorable moment that stands out to you about the Within Reach program. I gave you just a few seconds to think about it, and then we'll start over with you, Heidi, and then work our way across over to Sarah.
Great, sure. My best part of my job by far is when I get to help employees. And so I'd just like to share a couple specific examples of employees who benefited from this program and enjoyed it. We had a dad that came. He had been pulling his hair out every night doing homework with his young children, fighting that battle that we've all fought. And they had a very simple, at one of the early meetings, a very simple handout that had some tips for homework help. And he came to me afterward and said, this is so powerful for me. You don't understand how much time this has saved me, with my child in the evening. He felt more able to focus on the child, figured out some real tips on how to handle that better and more patiently and more successfully. And then we had another parent that has a child on the autism spectrum. And I think, in that situation, there's a little more uncertainty on the future for that child and their success in the workforce. And this person came away feeling like they had some really great tools with the assessments and different ways to find out what their child will be good at, and feels a lot more hopeful about their future career. So there were several stories like that, the information on the scholarships and the savings plans, lots of great, honest feedback from our employees that they really appreciated this opportunity.
Heidi, thank you for sharing that. I believe in the power of the narrative and the power of story, and that's such a meaningful way that we connect with each other, whether it's Idaho Steel or the school district or, in Hartwell Corporation. thank you for sharing those stories, and I would love to collect more and more of those as well, and work to share those stories with others, because I think that's a way that one way to inspire our businesses and inspire our parents and inspire our schools to lock elbows with us with this innovative program. So thank you for sharing, Margaret.
This is a very special time for school districts across Idaho because we're getting ready for graduation. We're getting ready to send our students off into the world. So just thinking about ways that we can make sure that we put them on a path to success. And it's not going to look the same for every child. And that, I think, is sort of the key, is understanding that there's lots of ways to get where kids need to go. It's just a matter of making those connections with them, helping them connect their passions with different jobs and careers, and then doing everything we can to support them to be successful. This week we had the first graduation from our standalone Career Technical Education Center, and we had students that graduated with certifications, with apprenticeship job experience, as well as college credits. All of our high school graduations are next week, and just the number of college credits that our students have earned, as well as the scholarships that they've earned. I am the executive director of our Ed Foundation. We've had more scholarship applications this year for our scholarships than ever before. I think kids are excited about the future, and it's just a matter of helping them find a way to connect with what's next for them.
Oh, Margaret, thank you for reminding us and giving us examples of how this is the impacts,
Yes.
and how it leads to these milestones like the graduations that you talked about. I think I was there for the ribbon cutting of the Career Technical Education.
You were, yeah.
And so it's neat to see now how that group is moved on to complete that program.
It is, and those
graduation.
programs run the gamut from welding to EMT, police to cybersecurity and computer science. Again, there's so many
All
ways
incredible
that
career
kids can
career
achieve
fields.
their goals.
Yeah,
So
thank you.
it's very exciting.
Yeah, thank you, Margaret. Bianca.
I'm appreciative to Idaho Steel for allowing the program to be piloted at our work, and that the program really changed my mind on post-secondary education for me, for my kids, for anyone that I know with kids. And I'm excited now for when, as my son grows and my daughter grows, I have the tools that you guys have given us to help them with their future.
And as a parent, you are not in this alone, right? And
Yeah.
so we have
The village.
You have that village. You have that community that is standing shoulder to shoulder with you.
Yeah.
Zarin.
When I went to college back around the turn of the millennium, I had no idea. I was first generation. I guess my sister went before me, but prior to that, nobody in my family had gone on past high school. And I didn't really even know what a scholarship was till my junior year in high school. And I applied for a little one. I got $500. But it took me 6 years to get a bachelor's degree because I had to work my way through. Now that was its own great education, so I don't want to cheapen that at all. But my two oldest children, my oldest just graduated last year and graduated with 2 years of her bachelor's degree already earned in high school through dual credit classes because of programs that we discussed in the Within Reach setting. My next oldest, my son, will graduate next year, and he'll have an associate's degree when he graduates. And these are classes he was taking anyway. They're the same classes I took in high school, but this program wasn't available. So this is real. Life's not all about money, but money's an important part of life, especially as a parent. And this is real savings for me as a parent, for my kids, in knocking out those credits without even $1 of extra cost out of our pocket. And my next youngest. I have 4 children. My daughter, who's going into I think the 7th grade next year, she will not be able to do those dual credit classes. She struggles with some things with learning, and she probably won't follow the same path as her siblings. But it's okay, because the Within Reach program has opened my eyes to other paths for her that will help her in her future. So I just can't speak highly enough about this. I really love it. It's such a great thing for me as a parent, for me as an employee of my company, for my company, and just for everybody, right? So.
Zarin, thank you for sharing those powerful words and giving us so much to think about in terms of the value that the Within Reach program brings. We've come to the end of our time together. And I want to say it's been a privilege and an honor. And thank you for sharing your thoughts and your insights and your experiences with our audience today. And I want to say a special thank you to Governor Little and to the Idaho Workforce Development Council and PBS for hosting this panel today. And to our viewers, our work isn't finished. We still have a lot to do. And so I look forward to engaging with you in the future and giving you that call to action to join us within this exciting Within Reach program. Thank you very much, and enjoy the rest of your conference.
Thank you so much, Dr. Sanchez, Margaret, Heidi, Bianca, and Zarin. The Lunch and Learns are such an intriguing concept, and just hearing the proof of how you're engaging parents with the tools and resources so that their students are able to access post-secondary pathways. We really appreciate your time with us today. We're eager to showcase our first video for you today, highlighting the Idaho Rural Water Association. Sit back and relax and enjoy learning more about the apprenticeship program that is creating opportunities throughout rural Idaho.
Water is life in the West. On average, 75 million acre-feet flow through our state each year, allowing Idahoans to consume over 17 billion gallons per day, among the highest consumption rates in the country. It flows down from the mountains, carving across the land, irrigating our crops along the way. Or we pull it up from the earth to fill a tall glass and quench our thirst in the heat of a day. No matter how it's conveyed, it's the essential ingredient tapped for our homes and businesses that sustains our daily lives. To understand what it takes to maintain a healthy water supply, we spent time with Idaho Rural Water Association and discovered the rewarding opportunities that are a part of managing water systems throughout Idaho.
Idaho Rural Water Association was formed in 1987 with the intent of serving rural communities under 10,000 with training and technical assistance.
So we train them in everything that they need to know academically. We teach them about drinking water distribution systems, drinking water treatment, disinfection. On the wastewater side, collections. We teach them about the conveyance of the water away from the home or business to a treatment plant. Water has to be cleaned, pristine enough to put back into the environment.
Hi, I'm Rusty Blackner. I work for the City of Burley. I'm a wastewater 2 operator. And this is the Headworks building. Here, this is where everything comes into the plant, and we get all the paper and all that stuff out of it in this room right here.
There are roughly 4,000 licensed operators in the state of Idaho. Of those, about 50% are aging out in the next 10 years.
So there's a need for skilled, well-trained operators. Several individuals at the national level and state affiliates decided that it would be good to form an apprenticeship program. And Idaho is one of the pioneer states.
My name is Scott Nichols. I am the Glens Ferry Public Works Director. What we do is we have an intake facility down at the Snake River that brings in the water, comes up to the water treatment plant that we're sitting in now, and we go through the process of treating that water before we send it to the customers' homes. It's a 1 million gallon a day treatment plant. It was quite the challenge to take on at first, but IRWA came into the picture wanting to start a apprenticeship program.
Under the apprenticeship program, they have structured educational material, quizzes and tests to help them not only on their job, but also as they lead up to that licensing exam so that they can pass that.
It's a lot of science, a lot of math. You got to know your microbiology and a lot of that stuff. And it's pretty tough. It's a lot to learn.
Something unique about our apprenticeship program is that all of our classes are instructor-led and they're live.
And it's practical information like pumps and motors, as well as chemistry and dosing. So all very, very important information to really feel confident in the job.
I figured the math would be the hardest part because I don't like math. But the way that IRWA and their math mentor and tutor, the light just comes on and you just start chuckling.
We found that we can reach more students all across Idaho if we provide all of our classes online.
The virtual platform has been very, very beneficial. Any given day, we've got most regions of the state represented on these virtual learning platforms.
My name is Stephanie Gaston and I work with the City of Ketchum, and I am a level 1 water operator. I went through the apprenticeship program, and that was a great opportunity because you have time to sit back, process, they go over the information, and then you get to talk with other operators because some of these people have been in the field for a long time and they have seen just about everything. We want to be able to provide healthy, quality, nice, cool, fresh, clean water for people to consume.
It's really fun to see that there's kind of a light that turns on in a wastewater purveyor or operator. Every single one of them are very community service oriented, and they become really passionate about their job.
I've been able to excel in a trade that is needed throughout small town America. I would not accept or take on a challenge this big without the support that IRWA has. They're there anytime you want to pick up the phone and call, they pick it up, they answer your questions, they show up and help. Without them, we wouldn't be able to do it.
These operators out there do take pride in their work, and the fact that we can still fish in our streams, swim in our lakes, and enjoy the outdoors that we tend to take for granted, really in large part are due to the operators throughout this entire state.
The operators statewide are on the forefront of environmental action. They're right on the front lines of keeping water clean and providing clean water for use.
I help the environment, and I'm a hunter, so I like my fowl and everything to be in good shape and edible. Clean rivers help, clean water helps, everything I can do to help our environment.
We go and we turn on our faucets or we flush our toilets and we don't think about what happens afterwards. And now every time I, turn my faucet on, I think, wow, that's really cool that we have these people that spend their lives making sure our communities are safe and we have safe drinking water.
A lot of people take it for granted and don't know what happens once you flush the toilet.
I had no clue. I just thought I turned on a tap and my water was there. It comes down a pipe. I assumed it came from a river or a lake or something, but there's so much more into that. The well systems, how they're put together, the pumps that bring up that water.
The fact that we are able to turn on the tap in Idaho today and drink it right from the faucet is amazing. It really is a modern day miracle.
I'm really excited about the apprenticeship program because it's a fantastic career, it's rewarding, you get to support your community and really provide the baseline of economic development. And you can live in the most beautiful areas of our country. So I would say check it out, it's a great job.
If you have an interest in working in the drinking water or wastewater industry, give us a call. We're more than happy to help you through that process. Visit our website at www.idahoruralwater.com and we will get you directed in the right direction for you to have a career in this industry.
To learn more about high-demand careers in our state, visit Next Steps Idaho, a site where you can research careers that suit your skills and passions. And if you're an Idaho resident, check out Idaho Launch to apply for funding to support your training. This production was made possible through a grant from the Idaho Workforce Development Council with additional funding from the Friends of Idaho Public Television.
Thank you so much to Idaho Public Television for producing this video alongside the Idaho Rural Water Association.